Hi, my name is Gloria Robert. Today we shall be looking at the topic evolution. Evolution. In our first video on evolution, we talked about the meaning of evolution. We looked at the different types of evolution and their common examples. But in this video, should I say evolution 2? Our focus shall be on evidences of evolution. We shall be discussing the theories of evolution and lastly, the evolutionary trends in organisms. Objectives of lesson. As the lesson progresses, the learner should be able to 1. Give at least 5 evidences of evolution. 2. List and state the theories of evolution. 3. Highlight accordingly the evolutionary trend in plants. And number 4. Highlight accordingly the evolutionary trend in animals. What are the evidences of evolution? In this video, we shall be looking at 6 different types, and the first evidence is called fossil records. What are fossils? Fossils are the remains of animals or plants which are impressed or preserved in sedimentary rocks over a long period of time. Take note that fossils are not the actual organism, rather, should I say, they are the shape of the organisms impressed in rocks, or what we call impressions of organisms impressed in rocks. We have different examples of fossil. The first here is called the fossil of a fish, the second is fossil of a plant, and lastly we have the fossil of a reptile. Now these fossils sometimes can be dug out from the earth crust by scientists, and these scientists are called archaeologists. The age of fossils can be determined by these scientists by what we call radioisotope dating. When fossils are arranged from simple to complex, the evolutionary trend of the organisms are shown, and this can be used for further studies or research. The second evidence we are looking at is called biochemical similarities. This evidence is based on the fact that all organisms share the same chemical components and processes. Now, these common chemical molecules or components are found in organisms, and they include carbohydrates, protein, water, lipid, nucleic acids such as RNA and DNA, and also they use energy in form of ATP for their life process. Remember, ATP stands for what? Yes, adenosine triphosphate. Number 3, domesticated organisms. Scientists are of the opinion that domestic animals such as dogs, cats, hens, pigs, and so on, used as pets in our homes or environment now, must have evolved over a long period of time from what they used to be to what they are presently. Their ancestors are probably from the wild, so you must have heard white dogs, white cats, white pigs, white horses, and so on. However, living with man over the year, man has been able to train them and tame them to become our pets, to become friendly and our companion. So this is showing evolution from the wild to the tamed. Number 4 evidence of evolution here is comparative anatomy. Anatomy is the study of the external structures of organisms. This evidence is based on the progressive evolutionary trend in the anatomical structures, such as that of the heart and the limbs in vertebrates. Now, the limbs, for example, show the same pendidatin plant for all vertebrates. However, they perform different functions, and even the heart chambers are actually from simple to complex. For better understanding, let's look at this image. Looking at the anatomy of the limbs in vertebrates, the first forelimb here is that of a crocodile. The second is that of a bird. We have that of a whale. We have that of a horse, bat, and of course we have mammal, okay, like human. Okay, now if you look at the way they are structured, they have the same structure, the same plan or pattern, and that is called pendidactyl plan. For you to have a better understanding on pendidactyl plan, I'll refer you back to the video on skeletal system, alright, supporting tissue. Okay, now if you look at these structures, they have the same plan, though they perform different functions based on the location, or should I say the habitat of the organisms. Now you have a single bone painted as blue, then we have the red, the yellow, and the orange light color, then followed by the white, and then the digits. So it's showing that all these vertebrates, their forelimbs and hind limbs, they have the same plan, and that is because of evolution. Now looking at that of the heart chamber, now the heart chamber of the vertebrate is actually from simple to complex. If you look at the heart chambers of the fish, we have just two. The first one is called the auricle or atrium, and the second one is called the ventricle. Now in frogs we have three. They have two auricles or atria and then one ventricle. In reptiles, should I say 3.5? Okay, they have two auricles or atria and then a partially divided ventricle. Moving forward to the birds and the mammals, they have four chambers, atria or auricles, and two ventricles. Okay, now this is showing evolution from one to another, from simple to the complex. The fish is the simplest of all the vertebrates, while the mammal is the most complex. So the frog must have evolved from the fish, the reptile from the frog, the birds from the reptile, and then the mammals from the birds. Did you get that? Yes, I know you do. So let's move on to the number 5, molecular records. Genetic information are stored in a nucleic acid, such as the DNA and RNA found in the nucleus of cells. Now, study has shown that the DNA of closely related organisms are similar compared to that of different species. Now, this knowledge of organisms that are closely related, having similar DNA, has been useful in the classification of organisms into different groups. Okay, in classification, we are told that the criteria that is used for setting organism into a specific species, general, family, order, or thereabout is the common features that they share, right? Good. Now it has advanced more than that. For classification purpose, organisms that are closely related are said to have the same kind of DNA. So organisms with the same set of DNA are classified in the same group. Okay, so this is another evidence to support evolution. Okay, I want to look at the last one here, though we have others such as the vestigial function or parts of the body and so on. Number 6, embryology. Now, you know what embryos are? Yes, when egg cells are fertilized by the sperm cell, okay, what will be formed after that is embryo. So embryo is developed from the eggs after fertilization. Study has shown that the embryos of vertebrates at the stage in their developmental stages look alike and share similar features. Okay, the features include possessing eyes, tails, gill clefts or slits. Now if you look at this image, you see the embryo of different vertebrates. We have the fish, salamander, such as belonging to the group frogs and toad. We have tortoise, which are the reptile, the chicks, the birds, rabbits and man, which are the mammal. So this is showing all the 5 vertebrates. Now if you look at their embryo, at one stage or the other, they have something in common. They both have they all have gill clefts or slits. They all have forelimbs bored, hind limbs bored, even eyes, location of the eyes, where the eyes will be. They have gills, they have tail at a particular point in time. So this is showing that the salamander must have evolved from the fish, the tortoise from the salamander, the chick from the tortoise, and then mammals from the chick. Now note that these embryological features show that development of one vertebrate evolved from pre-existing one. So salamander evolved from fish, tortoise from salamander or toad or frogs, and so on. So we want to look at the theories of evolution. We have 2 main theories of evolution, but over the time we have the modern theory of evolution. So the first we are looking at is called, yes, Lamarck's theory. Lamarck's theory. Now, a man known as Jean Lamarck, don't forget also that he's a scientist. He was first to propound a theory on evolution. Now, his theory is called the theory of use and disuse. Lamarck's theory, in summary, is called what? The theory of use and disuse. He was of the opinion that structures can be acquired by use and disuse. Okay, now those structures that are used continuously, they become larger, well developed, and efficient in carrying out their functions, while the ones that are not used, I mean the disused one, they become weak and inefficient in carrying out their function. This aspect of his theory was actually accepted because it is true. When an organism has a particular structure and is using that structures continuously, that structure will develop well and then become better in carrying out the function that it's meant for. But when a particular part of the body is not used, it becomes weak, inefficient in carrying out the function. So kudos to that part of that theory. However, he has another part of his theory that says that traits that are acquired over a long period of time due to use can be transmitted to offspring or from one generation to another. This aspect of his theory was rejected. He is saying that when a particular structure is used over the time, it gets better. Now this trait can be transmitted to the offspring, or it can flow through the generational part. This is not correct, because this trait is not in the genes. Only genes traits that are in the genes can be moved from one generation to another. It's just like an athlete training for a particular competition and is carrying weight and is having bigger muscles, bigger structure and the rest. That structure is not in his gene. He trained himself to have those structures, and so such a person cannot transfer it, that characteristic, to his children or his generation to come. And so this aspect of his theory was rejected. Just like someone that bleach his or her skin, the person is dark in complexion and he bleaches to become fair. That trait is not in his genes, so it cannot be transmitted and start giving birth to children that are fair, except they are in his genes. All right, let's move on to the backing up stories of Lamarck on this theory. To back his theory, he cited the evolution of the long-necked giraffes from the short ones due to constant stretching of their necks to get to their food, and this image is what he used to support that. What he's simply saying is that in the first generation of giraffes, they all have short necks. Okay, however, we have some that their necks can be longer than some, but they were all classified as short necks giraffes. But over the time, because they are always browsing for food, that means getting their food like leaves from tall trees, they keep on stretching their necks, meaning they are using their necks, using the muscles of the neck, and gradually their necks get longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And then right now we have the giraffes with very long necks. Okay, so this is what he used to support it, and he now said over the time they were able to pass this long neck trait to their children or to their next generation. The second theory we shall be discussing is called Darwin's theory. Yes. Now, a scientist called Charles Darwin propounded a theory on evolution. His theory is called the theory of natural selection. So Darwin's theory is also known as theory of natural selection. He was of the opinion that organisms produce many offspring at all time. This leads to competition for the limited resources among them in their environment, and variation tend to set in among these organisms, which can help some of them to compete and survive better, and that is called survival of the fittest. Now, these varied characters that help them survive better are naturally selected and then passed on to new offspring or generation, thus adapting better in their environments. Okay, don't forget that environmental pressure is the main cause of natural selection. Okay, let me summarize this. What he is simply saying is that organisms tend to produce many children or offspring at the same time. For example, fish can lay as many as thousands of eggs at one go. Now, this is to ensure survival, okay, because some of them can be eaten up by the enemies, some can be destroyed by the environmental factors, and so on. Even mammals, some pigs, some rabbits can produce as many as 18, 16, 8 children at once. Okay, this is to ensure survival. However, among all these children, okay, there's likely to be what variation, different traits in them, and also there's likely to be competition, meaning that because there are many and the environment where they are found, their resources are small, so they tend to compete for one another. So those with variations or characteristics that can help them survive better will be the ones to get the resources and survive, while the ones that are weak and not able to fight for their resources, they can get what they can die or get so weak and become inefficient in the environment. Now, he is not saying that this variation or character that help them to survive can then be inherited, can be naturally selected and then transmitted from one generation to another. Did you get that? Yes, I know you do. So let's move on to the last aspect. And so we want to look at the modern evolutionary trend. Okay, so this is the combination of the an aspect of Lamarck and majorly that of Darwin and Mendel's study. So This is also called the New Darwinism. All right, it is a modern theory based on Darwin's theory and Mendel's knowledge on genetic variation and how they affect natural selection. Now, he postulated that there are variations among organisms of a population. We've already said that under Darwin's theory, that we have different organisms, they have different structures. Some we have different structures that can help them to survive better. Now, some of these variations are naturally selected, yes. So, because they are good, they help the organism to survive. So, naturally, they are adopted, let me put it like that. So, but we use naturally selected because they help the organism to compete and survive well in the environment. Okay, now these are then passed on to the next generation, which brings about a gradual adaptive changes in the feature of the generation over time, and that process is called evolution. So over the time, the organism begins to change, have different functions, function and features, and then the new species is formed. Adaptive changes or variations that cause evolution are as a result of gene flow, genetic drift, natural selection, and mutation. Okay, you want to get the meaning of all of this, then go to the video on genetics. Okay, I think you'll get a better understanding of them. So let's move to the last part of our video, and that is the evolutionary trends in organisms. Evolutionary development in organisms is actually from the simple to the complex, aquatic to terrestrial. Okay, let me give this to you as an example or a better understanding illustration. You know, we talked about the classes of vertebrates. We said we have the pisces, which are the fishes, we have the amphibia, the reptilia, we have the apes and the mammals. Now, if you look at them, the fishes are the simplest of them all, while the mammals are the complex. So you can see that evolutionary trend is moving from simple to complex. If you also look at them, you find out that the pisces or fishes, they are found in aquatic environment, while the mammals, okay, are found in terrestrial environment. So it's showing that evolution is gradually moving from simple to complex, gradually moving from aquatic to terrestrial. All right, let's look at this. So we want to talk about evolutionary trends in plants. Okay, now in the classification of plants, we have the tylophyta, the bryophytes, we have the pteridophytes, and then last we have the spermatophytes. Now the tylophyta are the simplest, the spermatophytes are the most complex. Gradually there is a kind of change, okay, moving from simple to complex, and that is what we call evolutionary trend. Now in some of your exams, okay, they might not use tylophyta, bryophyta, pteridophyta, and spermatophyta. They might just use their specific names. Okay, so examples of tylophyta, we have oil-algae. Bryophyta, we have the liverworts and moths, which can evolve into the ferns, and then the spermatophytes. The spermatophytes are further divided into two. We have this gymnosperm and the angiosperm. Okay, the gymnosperms are the one that produce naked seeds, okay, while the angiosperm, okay, they produce what we have the monocots and the dicots. All right, you know examples of monocots and dicots, right? Monocot like all your cereals, rice, wheat, millet, and the rest, while dicot groundnut plants, beans plants, and the rest. Okay, so this is showing evolutionary trend from simple to complex, aquatic to terrestrial in plants. So here is an image to help you better understand what we are talking about. Looking at the evolutionary trends in the animals, okay, animals are a little bit complex. They are divided into two. We have the invertebrata and we have the vertebrata. Invertebrata are those ones without backbones, while the vertebrata are the ones with backbone. I know you know this already. Now, looking at their evolutionary trends, we have the polypheras evolving to the coelenterata, to the platyhelminthes, nematodas, annelidas, molluscas, arthropoda, echinodermata, and so on. Okay, now this is showing that the coelenterata must have evolved from the polypheras, platyhelminthes from the coelenterata, nematoda from the platyhelminthes, annelidas from the nematodas, and so on. So it's showing from simple to complex. So the complex here are the arthropodas, and in between the vertebrates and in the vertebrates we have the echinodermata. Now we have the vertebrates. Now this actually are the common ones. So vertebrate, we have 5 classes. We have the pisces, amphibia, reptilia, apes, and mammals. Good. Now the pisces are the fishes. I mentioned that earlier. So the amphibians must have evolved from the pisces, reptilia evolved from the amphibia, apes evolved from the reptilia, and the mammals evolved from the So this is actually showing evolutionary trends in organism. For us to have a better clue, please study this image, okay? It's simply talking about what I have said. So at this moment, we want to go to student activities. Now we have 5 questions here for you to attempt. All you need to do is pick your paper and your Bible and start digging it into this question. Now, if you answer all the questions and you did not get 1 or 2 right, please don't feel bad. All you need to do is to go back to the video, watch it again, study it again, and at the end, I believe you're able to answer all of them. Our goal for this video is for you to be able to answer every question here and even more on this topic. So at this time, I want to show you, this is the answer to the student activities. Time for you to mark. Our main goal for this class, or this video, is for you to get 5/5. I can also call it 100%. So if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, click the notification button, like my video, share and download, and I think we shall succeed together in this area of biology. So no fear for every student and no fear for every teacher. So I want to tell you, thank you so much for joining me in this class. Thanks for learning. Have a wonderful time.